Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Let's Buck with Ben. My name is Ben Cornett, and this is actually episode 11. I haven't done a Let's Buck with Ben in a while. It's been about a couple months, but anyway, we're here. This is a post game edition show. Tonight, we're just going to go over today's game, what happened. And to be honest with you, it was just not a good day for the Buccaneers. Not a good day to be a Bucks fan. Um, Going into this game, we rode a 4-game win streak. Buccaneers offense is finally starting to click. Canales' play calling has improved. And then we had today happen where it just fell apart, from the opening drive to the last second on the clock in the fourth quarter. I'm just going to say this. Today it came down to this. The Bucks just lost the line of scrimmage. Saints won the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Plain and simple. The Saints offensive line dominated for the most part our defense. We couldn't get really any pressure on Derek Carr. And we all know, a lot of you know who've watched my videos and everything, watched me over several episodes, tell you that Derek Carr is, to me, is a mediocre quarterback. I don't think he's great. It's not horrible, but he's not a franchise type quarterback in my opinion. But somehow, some way today, we pretty much made him look like Patrick Mahomes. So that was frustrating. Our defense just couldn't get any pressure pretty much most of the game. So credit the Saints offensive line for giving Carr time to throw in the pocket. Gave guys like Alvin Kamara and Johnson, their other running back, they were able to run the ball very well, very effectively on us today. The Bucks offense did just the opposite. The Saints defense, the run defense especially in particular, is not a very good run defense. I believe coming into this game, they've given up over 90 yards a game on the ground. And I figured, well, Rashad White, guys like Chase Edmonds would try and have a good game on him, at least run the ball. And that didn't happen today. In fact, we only had 57 yards rushing the whole game. 57 against a bad rush defense of the Saints. So that was very disappointing. And, this game, Mike Evans only had a couple catches. Godwin didn't get involved until late. Baker Mayfield, didn't have a good game. He had 2 interceptions. Now, also, there were some drop passes. Trey Palmer fumbled the ball late in the game that could have at least made things interesting. Could have helped the Bucks perhaps try and come back and win this game. Caught a great pass, but then fumbled the ball, and it pretty much cost us the game. Not just that, but one of many things that cost us the game. And yeah, this was a game where I felt like all we had to do is win. We're in the playoffs. We don't have to worry about anything. We'll have a home game. We'll, rest some players. But now we have to go beat Carolina in Carolina next Sunday. Now you're saying, oh, no problem, right? Carolina's 2-14. We can't possibly lose this game, right? Well, not so fast, okay? You see, Carolina, they don't have a first-round pick this year. Okay, now most of you are thinking, oh, Carolina's got the worst record in football. They'll just tank and, play for that number 1 draft pick. Well, actually, that pick goes to Chicago Bears because they traded DJ Moore and their first-round picks this past year and 2024 to get the number 1 pick in the 2023 draft, which is currently their quarterback, Bryce Young. So, with that being said, why do I say that? Why do I bring it up? Well, because if they don't have, they don't have that number 1 draft pick and it's the Bears, how's that going to help them? They're not getting that pick. So they could actually play spoiler. They can actually cost us the playoffs this year. They could make us lose this game and miss out on the playoffs, possibly. Now, the scenarios are, the Bucs, all they got to do is win next week, and they're in, even if the Saints win. But if we lose and the Saints win, they're in. If we lose and the Falcons beat the Saints, the Atlanta Falcons will get into the playoffs. That's right. The Atlanta Falcons. And think about this. Remember that first meeting with the Falcons this year? A game we should have won? A game that Desmond Ridder, who's now benched in Atlanta, had 3 turnovers, and we still couldn't win that game? If we lose this game next week against Carolina and Atlanta wins next week and gets into the playoffs, then that'll be the game that we'll circle back and remember how we lost this division, because we should have beaten the Falcons. So, yeah, there is some concern. We had it right in our hands today. This is a team that could have beaten the Saints. They really could have. But the Saints wanted it more than we did. They played like they were desperate, and they were desperate. They had to win today, or else they would have been eliminated from the playoffs. And we just, didn't show up. Most players didn't show up. I'm not going to say all. Most of them didn't. We know guys like Levante, they always show up. Mike Evans is going to always show up. But Baker didn't play well. The offensive line got manhandled. The running game couldn't get going. Defensively, our secondary is getting trashed. And the coaching, Todd Bowles, didn't call a good defensive game. Dave Canales went back to the Dave Canales from earlier in the season when we had that losing streak. When, he played it too safe. He also tried to run the ball when in the second half you pretty much got to start throwing the ball. Greg Olson said it best in the commentary. They called the game with Burkhardt, saying you got to switch it up. Do some RPOs, some screens, get your runs off screens. And we have a guy with Rashad White that is very good at screenplays. We didn't do that. Now, yes, you still got to run the ball, but it just seemed like Dave Canales just being stubborn with his play calling. He kept running the football, first down, run the ball, second down, run the ball. Like, if it's not working, you got to try something else. You got to mix it up, even when you're down 3 scores. So that cost us. And by the time we came back, it was just pretty much too late. Yeah, and we got it to 23-13. And we got the 2-point conversion. But what happened was there was 2 penalties on the play, one for each team. One was the hit on Baker Mayfield, the late hit. We got to see how he's feeling next week. I'm saying he'll probably be fine. But, also, unfortunately, Godwin catching that 2-point conversion, he stepped out of bounds. And he can't be the first guy to touch once he steps out of bounds, comes back in. So that took away the 2-point conversion. And then we couldn't get it on the second try. So, and it tells you how bad we played today when even Jake Camarda, terrible game of punting. This is like the worst game he ever played. I don't know if he just had a tired leg or what, but that was disappointing. His bad punting gave the Saints offense good field position to start their drives. So everything just went wrong today. There's nothing that you can really say was positive in this game. Um, you know, it just seemed like the Saints wanted it more, and they definitely did. They won the line of scrimmage. They outplayed us in every facet of the game. And the turnovers, the Bucks, we had 4. Saints didn't have any. Saints win the turnover battle, when anybody wins the turnover battle, guess what? They're usually going to win the game. So I'm just looking over these stats right now. A lot of things were even, except for the rushing. Saints had 108 yards rushing on us. The passing yards, we did have 80 more passing yards than they did, but again, that's kind of like garbage time. We're throwing the ball late, so you can look at those numbers and maybe it wasn't as close as or as a deficit as you would think, but yeah. So it was just, as a fan, it frustrates me because this is a team we can beat. We beat them the first time, and now we couldn't beat them a second time, especially with a team that, in my opinion, again, I'm not being a Saints hater. I do hate them, but I mean, I'm not trying to discredit them, but we should have beat this team. We just had a lot of self-inflicting wounds, and we just got outplayed. And now we're in a position to where we have to win next week. We have to go on the road and win this game against Carolina. Can it happen? Absolutely. But should we have been in that position to begin with? Honestly, no. We should right now be NFC South division champions and hosting a home game in a couple weeks against either Philly or Dallas. Philly lost, by the way. So we probably will play Philly in the first round. And we probably will if we win our division. So I don't know. Just as a fan, it's just disappointing. You just got to wonder, the Bucks, were they overconfident? Were they like, oh yeah, we got this in the bag. We're going to win this game. No problem. It's the Saints. We beat them earlier this year. We've been dominating this series lately. No problem, right? Well, unfortunately, they got a, big bucket of ice water thrown at them today, and now they've realized, well, crap. Now we have to go win next week in Carolina. You think you think they want to, do you think they're just going to lie down? No, this is a division game. And, this, again, with Baker Mayfield, that hit he took late in the game, is he going to be okay? So, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I thought we let one slip away today. I really did. Need some help on your show. Who must this be? Some Marty, Mr. Marty McKnight. Thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, if you want to come on, we'll talk about it. Let me get you on real quick. I'm gonna have a guest come on. Hopefully he's still here. Anyway, yeah, just what do you guys think today game? Leave your comments in there. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe to the show, please. That would be greatly appreciated. Let me know what you guys think. Now, yeah, just quite a bit of games today. Like I said earlier, the Eagles got beat by the Cardinals. That was a big surprise today. Atlanta, they did lose to the Bears. I expected that. Carolina lost to Jacksonville today. That was expected as well. Even without Trevor Lawrence. Right now, I'm going to send a link to Um, Mr. Marty McKnight. All right. There we go. Marty, if you got the link in our DM, let me know and we can put you on. Yeah, so once again, the Bucks lose today, 23-13 to the Saints. Ironically, in my Ben's quick picks this week, when I picked the Bucks to beat the Saints, by the way, you can see that video on YouTube. I did say the Bucks would win 23-13, but I got the score right, but just not the team. So anyway, let me bring in a co-host of mine from the NFL edition and a Bucks fan, Mr. Marty McKnight. Marty, thanks for coming in, man. What's going
on? Pretty much disappointed from the ball game today.
Yep.
I mean, we pretty much just the Saints are that team that if you overlook and you kind of like from the media this week from ESPN, NFL Network, they're talking about the Bucks steamrolling the Saints. The Saints has always been the last, I'll say, 4 seasons. The Saints are that bully from the school. If you overlook them, they're going to come to that. They're going to come down that hallway and punch you in your mouth and take your lunch money. Today we got punched in the mouth and we had absolutely no response for it.
Right, and you know what's ironic, Marty, is that we injured a couple of their guys. Like, Kamara got hurt; he didn't come back in the game. One of their linemen got hurt, and another guy got hurt. So, how ironic! Like you said that, like we got punched in the mouth, but yet we took a few of their players out, and we still couldn't do anything.
I will say there's one thing that I was okay with the game because we played like shit. We got outcoached, like you said. Special teams got outplayed. Offense got outplayed, and defense outplayed. There's only one thing it basically made my blood boil was the late hit cheap shot on Baker Mayfield. I was not okay with that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. That was bad. But ironically, like I said earlier, Godwin caught that 2-point conversion. The only problem was his foot. He stepped out of bounds, and when you step out of bounds, you can't be the first person to touch the football.
Yeah, illegal touch. But God, the referees took forever. I mean, absolutely forever to call that.
Right, but they got it right. Unfortunately, they got it right. But still, it was just one of those games, Marty, where you just felt from the opening kickoff, we just didn't have anything going, man. They had 14 play drive to start the game to get a touchdown. 14 plays.
Yeah, we didn't come out. We came out with zero energy whatsoever. It looks like they basically kind of listened to the media and they was like, okay, we're supposed to beat the Saints. We're going to basically just look forward to the playoffs. And Saints came in. Like I said, the Saints are that bully. They just came in punches in the mouth because they used to own us. It's like, hey, remember, you used to be our bitches. Pow. It's like, we'll see you guys next week and see what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
But the whole fact of Baker Mayfield taking that cheap shot, that's going to affect us if Baker can't play because the Saints took a cheap shot. All they got to do is be Atlanta. If we had to put in Kyle Trask that has not played hardly ever, comes in and lays an egg and Carolina wins, that cheap shot's going to cost us the playoff spot.
Well, yeah, that one of those things, but also, and I said this a few minutes ago, Marty, the Atlanta game, the first time we played them in Tampa, that could cost us because the thing is, Atlanta can actually still make the playoffs here. Now, they have to beat New Orleans and we have to lose to Carolina. And they would have the better division record because they'll have beaten the Saints twice. They'll have beaten us and they'll have beaten Carolina. So they make it 4-2. We would be 3-3 in the division.
Well, so I'll throw one more game on there that we should have won until Todd Bowles decided to play soft on defense. We should have beat the Texans. That game got away from us. We had that game won until Todd Bowles decided to play stupid and let the Texans win that game.
Yeah, they had Carlton Davis and their secondary 20 yards, playing that really cushioned defense
Yeah,
in
I
the
think it was
last
20 or 25 yards. Yeah, it was stupid.
right. Yeah, and you left the middle of the field open, and I remember that pass. I think it was to Tank Dell that ended up winning the game for him. So there's a lot of things you can look back on if and only if we don't win this game next week and we miss out on the postseason. Now, if we win next week, no problem, we're in. It doesn't matter what the Saints or
Yeah,
Falcons.
and I agree with that, but also this is a pattern. I mean, as a Bucks fan, you're going to agree on this. There's a pattern of Todd Bowles letting games slip away. Remember the was it 2021, 2022 division playoff against the Rams? He started playing super soft and kind of dumb, and then we got beat at the end after we made this big rally.
Right.
He has a pattern of playing too soft and letting these teams beat us.
Yeah, and you know, again, this is Todd Bull. This is one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of Bulls as a head coach because he plays not to lose rather than play to win. You
Hmm.
always want to play to win. You don't want to play not to lose. And you know, I know people. There's some fans that like Todd Bowles, and that's fine. He's a great defensive coordinator, but as a head coach, he's just not that.
No, he's not. I mean, it goes back to the New York Jet days. He's not head coach material. He is coordinator material. That's it.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. And Canales too. On the other hand, today was the first time since a few games ago where he was once again the play calling was very questionable. I they said on the broadcast, Greg Olson's like in the second half, okay, if you're running the ball, if it's like you're just ramming your head in the wall, you're being too stubborn. Mix it up, do some screens, some RPOs. Rashad White's good with those screen passes.
And who else is good with that? I'm not meaning to cut you off, but who else has been good with that? And who was really good last week and the week before, but mostly last week, that he has made a notorious career of screens, even when Brady was there, Chris Godwin.
Godwin,
Where's
right?
the Chris
Yeah,
Godwin screens?
yeah, right. Like this guy. If anybody can do those plays, it's Godwin. He's got the speed. He could run routes better than anybody in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL. And for some reason, Canales decided not to use him as much. And again, I get it. Evans was double teamed. That's fine, but that left Godwin open, right? Trey Palmer got more looks than Godwin today. And Trey Palmer, that's another guy that disappointed me because, like, he had that touchdown and he, lost the ball that gave it back to the Saints late, and that could have made a difference, in the game. Could have changed
Yeah,
them.
it's sad when you're falling to the ground and you fumble the ball. I mean, that is football 101 they teach you in high school is when you're going to the ground, you basically cover the ball. And it's like, when he did that, it's like, what the hell is going on?
Right, and he just lost the football, and
And
you know,
Baker put a good ball on him. That could have been a 75, 80-yard touchdown pass. Yes, he stumbled, but he could have recovered, at least held on to the ball and got it to the 15, 20-yard line and see if we could punch it in from there and go from there. But
right,
God, you just can't fumble the ball by yourself when you're falling to the ground. That is embarrassing.
it is, and those are the type of plays, Marty, that just changes the course of a game. Now I know we were still down; it was getting late, but still, momentum's a big thing. That could have been such a huge play, and it could have got our offense, like you said, could have done something at the 15, 20-yard line because we have the offense to do it, and we didn't get that opportunity. Now, another thing with Baker Mayfield, the two interceptions, he didn't play well. Let's just face
No,
it. Let's face
he
facts.
didn't.
He had the bad throw to Palmer. It was an underthrow. The ball was
Yeah.
underthrown.
If he
And
would have led him to the end zone, he would have had a really good chance. Because he had a step, he had like a step and a half on his defender. If he would
right,
have put it in the corner of the end zone, that probably would have been a touchdown.
right, yeah. So I mean, these are just Marty, a lot of missed opportunities today. You
And then
know,
the second one was it was like a 10 yard comeback route, and
yeah,
Baker held on to the ball. He pumped the ball and held on it too long and threw it. That is just knowledge. Like if it's a 10 yard comeback route, that's a timing route. You can't hold on to it. You got to either find something else or
right.
throw it away.
Right. Yeah. You got to let that ball go right away. But he didn't. Like you said, he held on to it too long. And that's something Derek Carr didn't do today. He actually got the ball out fast. He was on time with his plays, and the offensive line just helped him out, kept a clean pocket for him for the most part, and also opened up those holes for the run game. Like Kamara was running all over us till he got hurt. Then Johnson was running all over us. I mean, we just couldn't, our defense could not get off the field
No,
early on.
I counted like 5 missed tackles from Devin White today.
Right.
2 of them that was crucial. He missed tackles. It was like, I'm sorry, but Devin White is not this $100 million linebacker he wants to be.
Of course not, Marty. And people were starting, oh yes, he's back after that big game against Jacksonville with the interception and everything. I'm like, calm down. It's one game. Let's see him be more consistent. Well, look what happened today. Again, he had a tackle, a few good tackles there, but again, the inconsistency of this guy. This is why Levante has made this guy look better than he actually is.
Yeah.
Levante. I dread the day that he retires because we're gonna miss this guy, man.
Mm-hmm.
And not enough. I mean, I know a lot of Bucks fans like me and you, a lot of diehards appreciate Levante, but I don't think they appreciate him enough because this guy.
The thing about Levante David, he can cover tight ends. He can recognize it.
Right.
Like I think there was like 4, maybe 5, where Derek Carr connected to his tight ends, and that was Devin White's responsibility. And 3 of the times, 3 of the times he let the tight end go by him, but 2 of the times he decided to go blitz instead of actually picking up the tight end and hoping that one of the safeties was going to pick him up. You can't have Winfield from one side of the field to try to run to the other side of the field to cover up a tight end when that's your responsibility.
Absolutely, because in Winfield, I mean, there are plays where he got stuck, deep, and people were saying, "Oh, what did Winfield? Why does he have to keep going? From here to there?" It's like you said, because Devin White was, doing too much of this and not enough of that. He was doing blitzing when he shouldn't have, and then when he was supposed to blitz, he didn't. So it was just, again, some of that's defensive play calling as well. Once again, Bowles was very loose with his, at the line of scrimmage, having his corners play 10, 15 yards out. Now I get it because you don't want to get beat deep, but other than Olave, who's a deep threat?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. You took the words out of my mouth. Like, who's going to beat us? Michael Thomas is not out there.
No.
Are you scared of Taysom Hill outrunning you? Like, who's out there?
Right,
Besides Olave, there's nobody.
Well, Taysom Hill got a big play on that touchdown.
Yeah, and I think that was Devin White's responsibility, and then Winfield had to come over and cover.
Right, and again, Winfield shouldn't have to be covering for Devin White's mistakes, man. Like he did that a lot today, and we all know Ryan Neal's garbage. So
yeah, on him, signed him garbage.
Yeah, now, and Izzy didn't play well. McCollum, he keeps getting outplayed. He gets outbeat by average to less than average receivers. I mean, he's very athletically gifted, but he's kind of like a Sean Murphy Bunny is Zion McCollum. Great athlete, but he'll get beat on a lot of plays, and it's just
the only really good corner that we can depend on, it seems like, is Jamel Dean, because Carlton Davis gets burnt. I mean, he's pretty much burnt toast this year.
Yeah, and Davis
the contract we gave him.
Yeah, and once again he was out, so he's not always reliable.
No.
So I mean, this is just so frustrating, man. Yeah, now we got to win this game on Sunday against Carolina.
And the thing that was irritating me the most, and I agreed, I called it before they started in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. I said for the Buccaneers to actually start getting something going on the offensive side, they got to play up tempo. They got to play fast paced to get
Yep.
some kind of confidence and some rhythm going on. And even Greg Olson was saying they need to play tempo. They didn't start playing tempo until the fourth quarter, and then we finally get 2 touchdowns.
Right.
When you're
Well,
down 20-0, you got to play with some urgency, and there was
right.
none, absolute
Well,
zero
and
today.
what was really frustrating, Marty, when we did finally get something going, Rashad White fumbles the football.
Yep, and then Palmer
Fumbles the
fumbles
football.
the football.
Yeah, but before that, Rashad White had a big play, run play. He fumbles it, and it's like, oh, it's like the air went out of the balloon.
Yeah,
Like
it wasn't even like it was a tomahawk chop, but he was not really protecting that football when he got
no.
chopped. He was
Yeah,
protecting
it
that
seemed he
football.
was loosey goosey with the football.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, it looked like he had it like this, a little high, and that's when it got knocked out. Like you got to
Hmm.
like have it like this. Make sure you're on the side where the out of bounds line, the white chalk is. But I thought he kind of held it like this up, where look at you. What do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna knock it, palm it down, and yeah, it was just that was a killer to me. Like, damn it, and that's when I felt like, okay, well, I guess this isn't our day. And even Camarda today had a horrible game. It's like the worst game he ever had punting. Like some of the kicks, Marty, it gave the Saints great offensive field position.
Yeah, there was one punt that was like 37 yards, and it was in deep in the Saints territory. And
Yeah. Mhm.
I mean, excuse me, kind of like not. It was like at our 30-something yard line. It was like he punted the ball 30-something yards and got it like at midfield to the 40. You
Yeah.
can't do that. You got to flip the field.
Right. And that's why it's special teams, man. Special teams is one of the most important aspects of football, especially in the NFL. It makes a huge difference. Camarda, it's like, oh, no problem. He can pin him back deep. I mean, he can punt 50 yards in his sleep, laying down.
Yeah.
Like today, it's just one of those days, I guess,
Yeah,
where
you can't have a 37-yard punt. You can't have a 40-yard punt. I mean,
right,
when they need you got to flip the field. You can't fucking give the Saints at the ball at midfield or they're at basically our 40 where they can get 25 yards and be in field goal range. You can't do that.
correct, yeah. So everything, what went wrong, what could go wrong, did go wrong today.
Yeah, unfortunately, it did.
Yeah.
I say
So
I mean, he wasn't targeted a ton, but what Evans did was good.
yeah, of
If I
course, there's
had to
always
take
a lineup, you know.
yeah, what if I had to take like some kind of silver lining? And Baker Mayfield's better when it's up tempo, and when you let Baker run the offense, he starts
Right.
showing that he can do it. But shit, the Palmer. That's when I knew it was over. When Palmer fumbled that ball, I was like, yeah, this is done.
Yeah. And then today is the tight ends for our team didn't really do much. In fact, I think the only time we saw Otten do anything was when he was playing defense.
Yeah,
On a
Ogden had
play.
like 2 balls he caught for like maybe what 20 yards, 17 yards. That's it.
Yeah. So I mean, and Marty, give the Saints some credit, man. They came to play today. I mean, they were aggressive. You
Yeah,
know,
that's why I said when I first got on the show here
yeah,
that I wasn't mad at all about the Saints winning because we got outplayed, out coached, out everything. Where I got pissed off was that cheap shot. That was
yeah,
really, really shitty. But
mhm,
it's the Saints. We saw the cheap shot against Godwin a couple years ago
right.
when
Towards
they went
ACL. Yeah,
low on the knees.
yeah.
It's the Saints. That's how they play everybody.
Oh yeah. No,
Especially
it's
when it's a division rival, they're going to take cheap shots to get an advantage. But it's the Saints, and it just pisses me off when that shit happens.
well, and here's the ironic thing too today, Marty, was Lattimore was out today. He didn't even play.
Yeah.
So, and Mike Evans, you think, oh my God, man, he's going to be eaten, dude. And
Hmm.
no, the Saints were able to. They always had a double team on Evans. The safety was always 5 yards with his cornerback. Covering Evans. There's just nowhere to throw, and I get that. But again, if Evans is double teamed, You had
Where's
Godwin.
Godwin? Godwin's open
Come
somewhere.
on, come on, Canales. Sometimes, and here's the thing too with Baker, he needs to like just say, okay, screw it. I'm just going to go this way. Don't force the play that's been called. In your headset, you
Mm-hmm.
might have to check down, do some check downs. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead of just being, like Dave Canales being stubborn with his play calling. Like Baker sometimes is stubborn. He's got to make this play because that was the play that was called in his headset. But yeah, it was just a frustrating day all around. And next week's a must win. It's a must win.
It is, and we got two. I mean, we got two players that is banged up a little bit. Baker and Rashad White. I mean, Rashad White.
Yeah.
I don't think he even showed up in the fourth quarter because of his ankle, which
Yeah.
that could be an issue. And we had Chase Edmonds, and Chase Edmonds actually is a pretty damn good running back, receiving running back out of the backfield. But I mean, we need Rashad White and Baker.
Right.
But the damn cheat shot, in my opinion, and I know you probably disagree on this. I thought, what the dude that hit him was it, the honey badger.
Matthew, yeah, Tyrann Mathieu.
I almost thought about for a second, like that's an injection, just because how late it was and how high he went up. He didn't just push him; he forearmed him in the shoulder and his collarbone. I felt like that could have been borderline injection. On how you're trying to protect the quarterbacks.
Yeah,
That was a
no, I
really
understand.
dirty shot.
By the rule, the letter of the rule, yeah. I mean, that's something I wouldn't eject Matthew for, but it was definitely a well-deserved flag. Now an ejection. Now, if he went to his forearm to the helmet to the head, then yeah, I could see an ejection, absolutely. But it was to the chest and late after the ball was already released, but an ejection, not quite. Just my opinion, but I do agree with you. Late hit, but if the forearm was to the above the neck, then yeah, definitely would be a call for an ejection. So we got a comment here from. Let me see here who this is. He says, hold on a second. Oh, this is Fred Swayze. More Fred, thank you for tuning in tonight, man. Appreciate it. This ass whooping was good for them. Their heads were getting big. Get those heads straight and beat the Panthers, then head to the playoffs. Happy New Year's. Bucks flag and cheers. Thanks, Fred, for the comment. Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it is good for him. Hopefully this is a good wake-up call, Marty. This is the cold ice bucket of water that, got
No,
thrown.
this is the bully taking your lunch money and punching you in the face, and you need to stand up for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Marty, I said earlier before you got on, Carolina, now normally they have the worst record in the league, and you're thinking, oh, okay, they'll tank, get the number one pick, right?
But they don't have the.
They don't. That belongs to Chicago. So, well, why are we playing for this number one
So
pick?
why are you going to give your division opponent a chance to go in the playoffs?
Right. Yeah. Let's cost you the division. And we got to be ready, Marty. Next week, this team has to be ready. They have to be focused. The coaching staff has to call a great game. They cannot, Todd Bowles, goddamn it, cannot play to not to lose. He needs to play to win. And we do that, we should beat Carolina. We should. So we'll see what happens there. Is there anything else you want to add on to this, Marty? Or
no, I think that's pretty much we're done.
Okay, we'll read the comment. Another one from Fred. Panthers gave a hell of a fight today. Yeah, that against Jacksonville, they lost to a backup quarterback in C.J. Beathard. So, look, Carolina is not a good team. Okay, let's just call it like it is. This is a team right now they fired their head coach a couple months ago. Bryce Young has not. It's his first year, but he hasn't developed into the quarterback like a CJ Stroud has. Of course, CJ Stroud has better weapons on his team. They have better coaching, but this team cannot score offensively. We got to win this game.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, we got the weapons, the firepower that can beat this team by at least 2 scores. We should. Now, the first game, Carolina came to play, Marty. That was a very close game, kind of too close for comfort. We only won by 3. And that was the rain game when it was pouring all game. And, it was hard for both teams to really get an offensive rhythm going. But, we don't know what the weather's going to be like next week. But we have to see how we respond. And that's the biggest thing.
Let's play good on the road. I will give them that. If Baker's playing.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I think Baker will be okay. I haven't heard anything, Marty, about, an MRI or anything like that. So
hopefully
when we say MRIs, that's usually you're like, ooh, okay. But nothing about that. He probably just took a hard hit that, he's going to feel it tomorrow, but he should be ready to go in a few days.
I'm hoping it's a stinger or like a bruised rib, and give it a couple of days and he'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. Last Panthers game started the winning streak. Time to start another. Cool. I like that, Fred. I do. Let's hope so. Because next week, this is the last week of the season. And, Carolina, listen, there's a lot of players, Marty, on that Carolina. They got to audition, to be on their team next year, because there's no guarantee a lot of these players are coming back.
Oh, yeah, because the Panthers in rebuilding mode, they're trying to stock up. I mean, they're trying to get what they can better at basically a discount, because they're not going to have a first-round draft pick. They're not going to have the first pick overall. So they need to go out and see who's better at a good price, and your ass is on the line. You better put up or shut up at this point.
This is why I wanted to win this game today, Marty. So that way we don't have to worry about next week. We're already in the playoffs, but now we're going to be competing against the team that's going to compete. They're going to be ready to play us. So this team better be ready, man. Both offensively and defensively. The offensive line better play better than they did today, because they were outplayed, they were outmanned. They got pushed around, and it was just, this is when the offensive line was starting to get better,
Mm-hmm.
Godecki, Mock was starting to get better his rookie year. Tristan Wirfs we can always rely on. We don't have to worry about him, but everyone else, they just, even Steiny was playing pretty good until today. So we had those penalties too that brought us back. The false starts, the pre-snap.
Yeah, the pre-snap penalties always been kind of a Achilles heel for us this year, and it seemed like every once in a while it rears its ugly head and bites us in the ass.
Right, because you had those 5 yards. Now you even shrink your playbook, because you don't have too many plays for a 1st and 15 or a 2nd and 12.
There was so many plays. It was like 2nd down and 13, and then the 3rd downs, it was like 7 and 8. 3rd down and 8, 3rd down and 7. That's like, if you would run the screen like they was talking about, get like at least 2 or 3 yards on a screen or something on 1st down, it would make it 3rd down and manageable.
Right, absolutely. And we say this every time, Marty. You always, on 1st down, you always want to get at least 5 yards on a play.
At least 4, at least, yes.
Yeah, at least 4, yeah. Because now 2nd down, you make your downs easier to get, and you don't have those pre-snap penalties. It moves the chains,
Yeah.
So this team is too good offensively, in my opinion, not to be able to move the chains consistently on offense. So it's got to tighten up. This team better be ready to roll next week, because I don't want to say I'm nervous, but there's some caution. I'm a little cautious.
I'm concerned. I'm very concerned.
Yeah, even if we win, Marty, I mean, do we see this team winning a game in the playoffs?
I mean, if we can catch fire like we did, last week, I can see it. But this was, it's the Saints, though. The Saints can find a way to fuck things up. Excuse my language.
No,
but
well said.
If we can kind of semi catch fire like we did last week and I can see us putting a fight because remember the first half of the Eagles, we put up a fight and then we just kind of lost our way. But I can see us putting up a fight. We just can't do this shit that we did today. We can't
No,
do the whole um, run the ball first down, second down, put us in third and long and crap like that. You just can't do that. You got to adapt. You got to use screen. You got to use short play. You got to check down to the backfield. We
yeah,
didn't do none of that.
right. And defensively, you got to start jamming up at the line too. If you're the corners, Todd Bowles just does too much, cushion, too much giving receivers, space. That can't happen, man. Like tighten up. If we got to play a team like Philly, with like a Devontae Smith and those receivers, they're gonna have a field day on us, dude. We got to be ready to play. If
Yeah,
we play the Eagles or the Cowboys, they got
especially
receivers
with
too.
Fields. I mean, that run game from Philadelphia is scary.
Yeah, and they did lose today to Arizona, so they are vulnerable right now. So yeah, but first things first, you got to focus on winning this game next week. Um, Now we don't know what time the game is because with the NFL, the scheduling, um, I think it's going to be after this Sunday night game, the night between the Packers and Vikings. That's when the schedule will come out. So I don't know if we're going to be playing Saturday or Sunday. Either way, we're going to be playing next week. Important game. I'm assuming that will probably be the afternoon game on Sunday, the late afternoon game.
That's exactly what I
Yeah, because and then we're going to be both our game and the Saints Falcons will be on at the same time because they don't want
Saturday and
to
us
play one
playing
to the other.
Sunday afternoon.
Right. They want those games at the same time too. Saints Falcons, Bucks Panthers. So that way, they're not scoreboard watching. They're focusing on the game. See what happens. I know that it's got to be Buffalo and Miami next Sunday night. It's got to be. It's for the
Oh yeah.
division.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's no question about it because Miami lost big time today. And I know this is a Bucks show, but I'm just going to say real quick, Miami is, they're fake. They're like that fake diamond. It looks good, but underneath the interior, it's not great. They can't beat good teams. Baltimore just annihilated them. Buffalo's on a streak right now, and we lost to them earlier. And that's another game, Marty. Think about this: Buffalo on Thursday night. We had the chance there. You know, had a
basically,
chance.
basically, you
Yeah,
don't have to sugarcoat it. Miami's a fraud.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. That's great. They're on Hard Knocks in season. Great. They got great receivers, but they did lose a big defensive player this week. Bradley Chubb might not play for the rest of the year. He went down with an injury in that game. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
a tough for the
that's gonna
Florida
hurt.
teams. Yeah, tough for the Florida teams today, except for Jacksonville. But that was Carolina, so that was
Florida
expected.
State. Florida State.
Don't go there. All right.
I went there.
Yeah, I know you did.
I went there, drove there, parked there, and smoked there. What you talking about?
And pissed on there too. Yeah, I know. I know. That's okay.
And you just think if Notre Dame wins their bowl game.
What they won? What the Sun Bowl?
I don't
Let's
know.
still
It's
bring
a
it up.
bowl.
Yeah,
It's
the total.
something.
Yeah. So, well, with that being said, everybody, we're gonna wrap this one up. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Appreciate it. Um, Again, not the result we wanted. Now we got a must-win next weekend. But if the Bucks play their game well, do what they can do, they do best. They should win this game. So we'll see what happens there. Any final thoughts, Marty? Or
Uh, if Baker Mayfield plays and Rashad White, I would have more confidence. But we need to put pressure on Bryce Young. That's something we couldn't do today against Derek Carr. We needed pressure. So
yeah,
if we can't pressure, and we don't have a Baker Mayfield, we're gonna be pretty upset here or pretty nervous.
Well, like I said, Marty, I haven't heard anything on any MRIs or anything like that with Baker. Probably just the bruise. He's going to feel it the next couple days. Take an ice bath or whatever and just heal and practice this week. And we'll see what happens, man. This should be a very interesting final week. Again, we don't know what time we're playing, what day we're playing, because the schedule hasn't come out yet for next week. The NFL did that on purpose. They want to have a week 18 full of surprises. So, yeah, we either play Saturday or Sunday, most likely Sunday, but we'll see when the schedule comes out. Everybody, I want to thank everyone for watching. And like I said, give this show a like, share. Just tell everybody this, Let's Buck with Ben. I got a Facebook group called the Ben Zone. I shared to some new groups tonight. So, just follow me here on Facebook on the Ben Zone. If you want to join the Ben Zone, just give a request. I'll put it in for you, and you can join in, watch these shows. I also put it on my personal page if you're a friend of mine on Facebook. Also, my YouTube channel, Ben Cornett 9015. I'm on X, formerly known as Twitter, at BennyBoy702, and on Instagram at Ben702 Forever. So, with that being
Can I
said,
say one more thing before we get off?
absolutely. Yeah, go ahead,
man. Screw the Saints. Thanks, everybody. Have a happy New Year.
Marty, thank you for coming on, my friend. It's good to talk to you, good to chat with you, man. And like Marty said to everybody, have a happy New Year, and let's get ready for 2024. And let's get ready. I wish we were firing more cannons like you can hear in the background now, but we didn't do that today except a couple times. But hopefully next week we'll fire more cannons and get into the postseason. And yeah, so everybody have a great night. Have a great whatever you're doing right now, New Year's Eve. Be safe out there. Whatever it is you're doing.
Don't drink and drive.
Exactly. Call an Uber. We have Uber. Use it. Just use it. So everybody have a great weekend, rest of the weekend, and we'll see you actually next year, which will be tomorrow, starting next year. So have a good night, everybody, and take care, and we'll see you next time right here on Let's Buck with Ben and the Ben Zone.
Catch you guys later.